Good afternoon, my friend. A little late, but better late than never. Okay, better late than never. Man, super excited to chat with you on this topic of freaking carbs. So, we're going to talk about carbs while I get ready because let's just be real. We love our carbs, and there's so much confusion, nutrition confusion on carbohydrates. There has been for a long time. And I just want to free you up from that, okay? You do not need to be afraid of carbs, all right? I mean, especially if you're here in Texas like I am, it's like that's the last thing that we need to be afraid of, right? Because here in Tejas, here in Texas, we are all about our chips and salsa, okay, right? I would like to just share that my favorite carbohydrate is popcorn. Drop it in the comments. What is your favorite carbohydrate? And oh my gosh, love me some seasoned curly fries. Yes. So it just seems like anytime I see friends go on a diet, thank you so much for the heart. Anytime I see friends go on a diet, they're just like, no carbs. I'm like, no, that just doesn't make any, like, why? You don't need to eliminate an entire food group to drop body fat, okay? So I think it's important to understand, like, how carbohydrates work, all right? And what we need them for, because they do have a purpose. The problem is that we are overeating, period. It's not that we are, underfed. We are like, what we're doing is we're undernourished. We're getting our nutrition, or we're not getting enough nutrition, and we're choosing the wrong carbs, right? And not just that, but we're not burning them off. So newsflash, and I think this is going to be helpful for you, okay? Because my goal, I want to teach you mindful nutrition. So it's being mindful. Once you understand how carbohydrates work, you can use them appropriately, and you're gonna love this, okay? Just roll with me. Just roll with me while I do my routine, okay? So, and also drop any questions that you have in the comments. I'll try to make sure and address those. But let's just start with, like, what is a carbohydrate, okay? So carbohydrate is a macronutrient, all right, which means that macro means big. So it is a big food macronutrient, which means that it is one of your body's primary macros for function. So you have fat is a macronutrient, protein is a macronutrient, and carbs are a macronutrient. And then you have micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals and things that you get in small amounts, okay? So micro and macro. Carbohydrate is a macronutrient. It's things that we need in a larger amount than, let's just say, like vitamin D or something like that, okay? So when it comes to carbs, carbs provide your body with energy, all right? Drop energy in the comments if you heard me. But carbohydrates give your body energy. They give your muscles energy to work out, to perform, and they give you energy to make it through the day. Okay, that's what carbohydrates are for. Okay, the problem with us, hey Brandy, the problem with Americans especially is we eat carbs, but we don't burn them off, right? So all body fat is stored energy that you haven't used. That's what body fat is. It's stored energy that you haven't used. Okay? And so what happens when you eat a carbohydrate, it converts it into glucose, and that is what helps your brain to function, your muscles to perform, and all the things that I just mentioned, okay? So you need carbohydrates for energy. Now, also, the thing about carbs, and I think one of the reasons why people think carbs make you fat is they are a water molecule, meaning like they hold a lot of water, okay? They carry a lot of water. And so typically what happens when you eliminate carbohydrates from your diet is you just lose that water weight. Okay. It's true. When I have clients, friends, whoever, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so bloated. I gained 5 pounds this weekend. I'm like, no, you didn't. You're full of water weight, probably too much sodium as well. So I tell my friends, I'm like, just go 2 or 3 days without carbs, and you'll flatten out real quick. Like, your stomach will flatten out, and you'll be back. You'll be back. All right. So it's true. Now, there are 2 different types of carbohydrates. You have your simple and you have your complex. Simple is like fruit, for example, okay? And so if you eat fruit, you're not going to experience that bloating that you would if you ate like French fries. Okay, fruit doesn't give you that type. Hey, Savannah, fruit doesn't give you that type of reaction. Complex carbs are the ones that hold the most water. Okay, it's the complex carbs. All right, so also your body has to work harder to digest and process the starchier carbohydrates. And so I always say, like, for breakfast, eat some berries, because those are easy for your body to digest and break down, and so you're still going to have your energy in the morning, which is, it's most important in the morning. You got things to do, you got places to go, you got all this stuff going on, right? So you want to make sure your energy is good, and so eat your carbohydrates early. If you're trying to lose weight, all right, the first thing you should do is not eliminate all of your carbohydrates, but just cut back a little bit. Why? Well, number one, when you cut down on your carbohydrates, you're automatically going to start cutting down your caloric intake. And that's the whole goal, right? We need to reduce our calories that we consume every day. We need to move our bodies more so that we burn more than we eat. And when we burn more than we eat, we lose body fat. That's how you lose weight. You have to burn more than you eat, period. Point blank, period. And so the best way to just cut down your calories is to reduce your carbohydrates, and knowing that they are a source of energy, and knowing that you're likely going to be, going to bed soon in the evening, and you're likely less active in the evening, right? Then really the biggest thing is don't eat any carbohydrates after noontime. Like, eat your breakfast and lunch, have your carbs, breakfast, lunch, but then abstain from them going into the evening. Now, I'm not talking about fibrous carbs like spinach and kale, and I'm not talking about your veggies. Those are fibrous carbs, and they're full of fiber, is why they're called fibrous carbs, and they don't even count really towards your macronutrient goal at all. I don't count them, because after you take the fiber away from the total carbs, you're only left with like 3 or 4 net grams. So that's like minute. So I wouldn't even trip over 3 or 4 grams of carbs. Okay? Wouldn't even trip over it. So that's the thing, is carbs do not make you fat. It's portion sizes. It's when you eat more calories than you burn off, that's how you gain weight. And there are many different factors that play a role in weight gain. Or I'm sorry, there are many factors that play a role in your body's ability to burn calories. Your metabolic or your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories you burn just in your day-to-day. Hey, Megan. There's also like your stress level, your quality of sleep, like your activity level. There's too many different things that play a role in your body's ability to burn body fat. That is why when I get with my girls, like, I talk about stress management. I talk about sleep. I talk about those things, because truly, if you really want to get your nutrition in order, it's much easier to be compliant to your nutritional guidelines when you're not stressed out and you're not tired. When you're stressed and tired, just kiss your goals goodbye. Because it's like your body's going to be working against you. You're going to have an increase in cravings. You're going to have a slower metabolism. right? It's just, if you can just get your sleep and your stress management down, following a nutrition plan or guide, or trying to make healthier choices in general is going to be so much easier. And I mean, I love supplements. I have products that help combat those things. I have one that's my favorite. It's called Burn, and it's like 4-in-1, because it'll help with your energy, craving control, appetite control, and it will help your metabolism. And so it'll help you burn. It's going to support you in your efforts as you're on your way to reaching your goal. Love it. Freaking love me some Burn. So if you're just like, I'm trying to sleep better, I'm trying to eat better, but I'm still struggling with cravings and fatigue, and it's self-sabotaging, or it's sabotaging me, then I'd love to hook you up with some Burn. But otherwise, man, if you're waking up to an alarm, you're not rested. You're not done. You should naturally wake up at the same time every day. That's a whole nother topic for another day, but you should be generally waking up on your own. That's your body's way of saying, hey, I'm done resting. We're good now. Let's get up and go. But if you're fatigued, man, you're likely going to be craving salt, sugar, all the bad things, because your body's like, I need energy, I need energy, I need energy. Food, 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 food. Or you're stressed, and that's just like, okay, let's where's the salty, where's the sugary, right? When you're stressed out. So important to have some things in place to help you combat those. At the end of the day, again, it's all going to be a mind game anyways. I mean, some things I've just learned that I just can't have in the house, period. Just can't have them. You know, just can't have them. And I hear people say all the time, well, you know, my family eats this, my kids eat that. Well, okay, first of all, if you can't eat it, then why are your kids eating it? Oh, I can't have Oreos, but let's just feed them to my kids. Like, what? I don't, that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I'll get off of that. So honestly, look, I get it. My kids, they're teenagers, like trying to get them. Actually, my kids are really good about eating fruit, not so much vegetables. You know what I mean? But they keep their snacks. Like, I don't see their snacks. I mean, my daughter is about to be 18. She literally freaking DoorDashed 2 bags of Doritos last night. Okay, don't. I'm like, really, sister? Really? But I don't see them. Not that I would be tempted by them, but I don't see her snack. So some things maybe just out of sight, out of mind. Okay, tell your family to go put their poison somewhere else. so you don't get into the poison. Okay? Like, do what you got to do to keep the food out. You know, no one is forcing you to go through the drive-thru if you can just make it home, right? I have a client whose weakness is sweet tea at McDonald's, and I'm like, just as soon as you get off work, message me. Hey, I'm headed straight home. Message me when you get home, like, for accountability, because that's like a struggle. It's also just creating new habits, man. It takes time. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Seriously, life is hard enough. Losing weight should not be. So I try to keep it simple for y'all. I try really hard, you know, to keep weight loss as simple as possible for y'all. So I have so many tools and resources in my on my website, but otherwise you can check out my free group, Rise Virtual Gym, where I have lots of free fitness and nutrition resources on Facebook. But at the end of the day too, not only just mindset, but just being prepared. You know what I mean? Just make sure that you have healthy options available. And if you can catch yourself before you even get hungry, that's even better. And I know it's like, you're going to have me on a timer. Yes, until your body gets on a system, until your metabolism gets where it needs to be, then you should be setting a timer and eating every 3 hours. Put something, okay? Put something in. Now, I'll just give you a little story, okay? Whenever I knew I needed to reset my metabolism because my metabolism was just jacked, all right? I had to set a timer, okay? So when I knew my metabolism was jacked, it was like, okay, Jana, you've got to start eating breakfast. If you really want to boost your metabolism, start incorporating some protein and fruit first thing, first hour of the day is the best, okay? And remember, I said fruit because it is a simple carbohydrate that your body can convert to energy quickly so you won't feel sluggish in the morning. Don't do oatmeal, all right? Do some fruit. You'll feel better. Trust me, okay? All right. So first thing to boost your metabolism is breakfast. So get your breakfast in. And so nowadays, my body knows I eat at 9:30, 12:30, 3, 5:30, and then I have a snack at 8, and I'm done. I'm done for the day. Done. And you notice how I just spout those times off? Is because I know when I'm going to be hungry. Like it's 2 o'clock right now. I can guarantee you about 2:45, my stomach's going to start growling because it's like ready to go. It's just like being a baby again. You know, babies, they're eating every 2 hours, man. You don't have to remind them or tell them. It's because their metabolism is like going, right? It's converting. And so we've got to get our bodies back on that schedule. But you have to tell it what to do. And you tell it by giving it food. But just making sure that it's the proper food, right? So carbohydrates, I would never eat a carbohydrate by itself, okay? If you really want to stay full longer and make the most of your carbohydrate, then add a protein with it. So never just like eat a banana, drink a shake with it. Eat some protein with your banana. And by the way, peanut butter is not a protein, it's a fat. I can't stand that when people talk about protein balls and they're full of fat because they use all that peanut butter and they want to call them protein balls. No, it's a fat ball, honey. It's a fat ball. Let's just quit kidding ourselves. It's a fat ball. Okay? Because that's its primary macronutrient. You cannot call a food item a protein, a carb, or a fat if the fat is the highest macronutrient on the nutrition label. You categorize a food by its macros, and whichever one is greater. If you have a food that's 20 grams of protein, 3 carbs, 3 fat, it's a protein. If you have a product that's 14 grams fat, 6 protein, 2 carb, that's peanut butter, by the way. It's a freaking fat. Peanut butter is a fat. Don't argue with me. But anyway, like I said, it's just important to understand that carbohydrates are your body's energy source. And if you literally, if you're about to go to bed in a few hours, don't eat a bowl of macaroni and cheese, because you're just going to sleep on it and your body's not going to use it, and you're going to, just don't. All right. Unless you're my 16-year-old son, then you can totally do that. But we're not 16-year-old teenagers, are we? We're not 16-year-old boys, rather. All right? We're 40-year-old women who need to make sure we look fine in our coffins. I don't know about you, but I'm going to look fine as hell, and I'm going to have muscles in my coffin. If someone is going to have to strip me down and look at my naked body when I'm 90 years old, it's going to be ripped and shredded, okay? Okay, let's just go ahead and make that, let that be known. Let it be known. We are walking into heaven in shape, okay? Okay. So yeah, you don't need to be afraid of carbs. I mean, I do love my carb blockers just because they really reduce the impact of the negative effects that carbohydrates can have, depending on the carbohydrate that you're eating, because they can raise your blood sugars. And, the goal is to obviously just maintain healthy blood sugar levels through the day, because that can impact your energy. It can impact, you definitely just want to make sure your pancreas are not Your pancreas are not going to be stressed out and in a bad mood either. So let's make everyone happy and pair our carbohydrate with a protein. Okay, super important. Super important to do that. If you would like, I can figure out what your basal metabolic rate is, or you can actually do it yourself. Honestly, you can just Google basal metabolic rate calculator. You input your age, sex, and weight, and it'll give you an idea. Now, basal metabolic rate is how many calories you burn, just how many calories you need just for your body to function. And so if you, like for me, I think I need 1,400 calories a day. So I would rather just count 1,400 calories a day and work out. Okay, then that way I know I'm burning more than I eat, because I'm going to work out and I'm going to burn more than that, right? So that's how you lose weight. So if you're not going to work out, what you could do is you could take your basal metabolic rate and just subtract like 200 from it and see how you do. If you do 200, actually take out, that'd be kind of aggressive. If you take out 200 calories a day from your basal metabolic rate and you're not working out, 200 a day, you'll lose 2 pounds. Yeah, you'll lose 4 pounds in a month. Just like doing that alone, you'll lose 4 pounds in a month. Don't go off and, eliminate the entire food group of carbs, but that is a way that you could drop down and hit that calorie goal that you have. Hello. Uh-oh. So if my goal is to lose 50 pounds and I'm going to decrease my calories every day by 200, and I'm going to lose 4 pounds in a month, then it's going to take me like 10 months to lose the weight. Now, if you work out and try and decrease by 200 calories, you could probably cut that in half, and you could lose the 50 pounds in like 5 months. I lost 50 pounds in 6 months, and that's how I lost it. It's really doesn't have to be complicated. It would just be wise of you if whenever you drop your calories down, that you drop them from fat. I wouldn't drop them, because most of us, like, if you're gonna, like, we're meal prepping with oil and things like that, and oils are really fattening because there's 9 calories per gram of oil, per gram of fat rather. So you gotta watch your fats too, especially if you love nuts. Nuts are full of fat, and I know that nuts are good for you, but not a whole bag. Okay, like, don't eat a whole bag of roasted nuts. But a good healthy swap, like if you love potato chips are a carbohydrate. But if you love your potato chips and you need to, you're looking to reduce your calories so that you can start losing weight, eat the veggie chips. Get the little veggie, that way you still have the crunchy, right? You still kind of have the salty. You still have the, like, potato chip. It's just a lot better for you. A lot better. So that's a really good snack option if you love chips. Just switch to the veggie chips. Much better option. And if you're going to go out to eat, my advice is try to avoid carbs, like, for the most of the day. That way you can have your carbohydrates in the evening and still meet your calorie goal without going over. And Take your carb blockers with you too. You could also just plan to go out to eat earlier during the day is really what I say. It's better to go out to eat for lunch than dinner. Oh boy, that's for sure. Especially here in Texas where the portion sizes are ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous. Okay, I think our eyebrows are good. All right. Okay. What else can I share about carbs? Oh, here's a little tip for you. If you're wondering, well, what is a carbohydrate? Like, how do I know what a carb is when I go grocery shopping? A carbohydrate is anything that came out of the ground. So what are some carbohydrates that you can think of just based on that information? Right? Fruit, veggies. You know, your rice, your wheat, potatoes. Carbohydrates came out of the ground. Super simple way to remember them. If it had a parent, it's likely a protein. It is a protein. It's not likely, it is. Okay, so carbs come out of the ground or off of trees. Protein comes off of animals. Unless it's edamame or tofu. But for the most part, proteins are an animal source. So thinking about your diet, okay, thinking about your nutrition, what would you say it's mostly comprised of? Standard American diet, brown. It's brown and white, okay? Most of us are eating, hey girl, most of us are eating way too many carbohydrates. In America, they're just too abundant, right? It's like when you look at a vending machine, it's nothing but carbs. You know, you go through any drive-through, it's hash browns, it's, you know, breakfast sandwiches, which can be good, but they're biscuits, carbs, you know, we're overeating carbohydrates. It's so easy. Everywhere we go, there's too many carbs and not enough protein, in my opinion. Not enough really good, high-quality protein. You know, unless they start putting apples and bananas in vending machines, we need to be careful about our carbohydrate consumption when balancing against our energy expenditure. All right? If you're not expending a lot of energy during the day, if you're not on your feet most of the day, if you're not, you know, intentionally, like actively working out, if you are considered sedentary, then you don't need the carbohydrates. It's not that you should eliminate them because they're bad. You don't need them because that's your body's primary source of energy and you're not using any energy. You're just, like for me personally, I work out 10:30 to 11:30 and then the rest of the day I'm pretty much on my freaking rear. So I stop eating at 8 p.m. No more food after that. Okay, because I go to bed at 11. So I try not to eat 3 hours before bed. But then I've already had enough energy for the day. I've already had enough food during the day. But still, I'm mindful. A lot of times my lunch is just a protein shake and maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter. That's my lunch. Because my appetite's not even there. Because I'm not using a lot of energy. You know what I mean? So it's just being really mindful. Like, okay, if I have a busy day, then you could probably afford to add more carbohydrates into your nutrition that day. But if you're going to be sitting around, chilling, Netflix, doing nothing all day, me yesterday, then I lived on protein shakes yesterday. Because I didn't need the carbs. Didn't need them. Carbs are for energy. Carbs are for energy. So, yeah. Carbs are for energy. So just be mindful of that whenever you go to eat. You know, make sure you are mindful of your activity level when it comes to carbohydrates. But you need them. I'm not saying you don't need them at all. If you have a desk job and you're sitting all day and you don't exercise at all, your body does need them for brain function. So I would just say you could probably afford to go really low. You could probably afford to be at 50 grams a day. and be fine. For sure. You really don't need any more than that. So with my clients who come to me for weight loss, it's sleep, stress management, and looking at their basal metabolic rate. And then from there, we can create an amazing nutrition guide. And the thing about with my clients is you get to choose your food. I'm not telling you, okay, Melanie, you need to eat, a block of tofu at 2 p.m. Like, no, you get to choose. So what I do for my clients is I give them basically a template, and they get to plug in their macro, they get to plug in whatever they want. So if their nutrition guide calls for 20 grams of protein in the morning with 2 cups of fruit, then they can choose whatever that is. Of course, if they're pre-diabetic, diabetic, no bananas, no pineapples, no dates. It's like straight up berries. But for the most part, most of my clients love berries anyway. But yes, it's protein and fruit. And that's what I eat anyways. Protein and fruit. So they get to decide. You get to decide whatever fruit you want, whatever protein you want, just plug it in. Make it simple. Like here's the list, you decide. And if you don't like it, it ain't my fault because you chose it. So it's kind of how that works. All right, so I got enough makeup on to go to the grocery store. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, I appreciate you for hopping on. Thank you so much for listening in. If you want more fitness and nutrition resources, just go to the link in my bio. Talk to you later. Bye. So at some point, we'll get off of here.